It's 2018, a hazy morning in Mexico City. Inside a secure compound near Paseo de la Reforma, an FBI agent's phone rings. Nothing about the call seems unusual. But what the agent doesn't know is this: someone is watching him. Not the usual kind of surveillance, not wiretaps, not hidden cameras. This is different. He's being tracked, in real time, by one of the deadliest criminal organizations on Earth. And his phone is the key. This isn't just a prank or a phishing scam. This breach will lead to something far more dangerous. The FBI won't talk about it publicly, but the Justice Department will quietly file a report. They'll call it a breach of ubiquitous technical surveillance. But what it really is a new kind of warfare. One where a cartel doesn't just smuggle drugs, it hacks phones, it hijacks cameras, it watches and waits until it's time to kill. Mexico City is massive, with over 22 million people. It is one of the most densely surveilled cities in the Western Hemisphere. Tens of thousands of CCTV cameras watch the streets, installed by the government in the name of public safety. But surveillance systems are only as safe as the networks that connect them. And in 2018, that network had a leak. Somewhere in this city, a hacker working for the cartel taps into the government's surveillance grid. We don't know how this was done, as it is still classified. But we do know what they did with it. They watched the cameras, following the movements of US agents and informants. They matched faces, tracked routines, marked locations. This wasn't just about hacking a phone anymore. This was about fusing phone metadata, GPS call logs, timestamps, with a real-time citywide visual feed. It's a tactic used by nation-states: China, Russia, the NSA. Only this time, it wasn't a government. It was a drug cartel. And the battlefield wasn't cyberspace. It was Mexico City. One by one, the cartel identified the FBI's contacts. Some of them were locals, some were informants, and some of them didn't survive. He wasn't just any agent. He was the assistant legal attaché for the FBI in Mexico City. That job, it's one of the most sensitive roles in US law enforcement overseas. You don't chase bad guys. You build networks with local police, intelligence, government. You gather whispers, meet informants, and move quietly. You are, by definition, a walking vault of secrets. But somewhere along the way, his phone got breached. We don't know if it was malware, a SIM swap, or something more sophisticated, a Pegasus-style implant. What we do know is this: the hacker got in. And they didn't need to crack his screen to hurt him. Just the metadata was enough. His call logs revealed who he was talking to. His GPS data revealed where he went. And over time, the cartel built a pattern, a map of who this FBI agent met with, where, and when. At first, the agent had no idea. No signs his phone had been compromised. But then came the fallout. Informants stopped showing up. Meetings felt watched. And one day, a contact turned up dead. Shot. Just days after meeting with the agent. They used Mexico City's public camera system, a network of over 50,000 surveillance feeds. And with access to just a few, connected to the right time in the right neighborhood, they built a real-time intel pipeline, the kind of setup you'd expect in Langley or Tel Aviv, not from a cartel. Once they had movement patterns, they could guess who mattered, and once they knew who mattered, they could intervene. Sometimes that meant intimidation. Sometimes that meant elimination. A single piece of metadata can become a death sentence. And in Mexico City, that sentence was carried out. We don't know the informant's name, or how long they'd been working with the FBI. But we know this: they met with the US agent, they were followed, and then they were killed. It was a precise hit. It was the culmination of a surveillance operation so efficient, so quiet that by the time anyone realized what had happened, it was already over. The Department of Justice confirmed it. One informant, at minimum, dead as a result of the breach, and likely more. The FBI agent didn't pull the trigger, but his phone lit the path, and someone followed it all the way to the end. We don't know exactly how he got in, but cyber experts have theories. Maybe he exploited a SIM swap vulnerability, impersonating the agent to the phone carrier. Maybe he used phishing malware, piggybacking off embassy Wi-Fi. Or maybe he bought the access. Cartels have deep pockets, and the dark web has no loyalty. This was the cartel's evolution, from tunnels and trucks to code and cameras. And this wasn't a one-off. The breach was part of a broader intelligence operation, targeting not just one agent, but an entire network of U.S. law enforcement. For years, the FBI treated cyber threats as foreign problems, nation-state problems. But here was a brutal reality. The most dangerous digital attacker in North America wasn't in Beijing. It was inside a cartel compound. The FBI never announced the breach. There was no press conference, no warning to the public, no lessons learned memo. But behind closed doors, alarms were going off. Because this wasn't just a leak, it was a systemic failure. The breach made its way into a 2025 report from the U.S. Department of Justice's Inspector General, buried in a dry review of something called Ubiquitous Technical Surveillance, or UTS. 3 words that sound like a PowerPoint slide, but describe one of the most dangerous ideas in the modern world. Everything is connected, and everything is vulnerable. We used to think power meant guns, armies, or state secrets. But now, power is access. To your data, to your phone, to the cameras watching you walk to work. And in the wrong hands, that power can be used to watch you. We live in a world where location is constantly tracked, where your phone is always on, where your camera is never really off. And while most of us won't be hunted by a cartel, we're still leaving breadcrumbs every single day.